got done watching episode 4 of The Penguin, and man, this episode was absolutely insane. Like, this episode was amazing, fantastic, all the things that it needed to be, and it was everything that I wanted from this episode. Ending last week, I was very interested in what happened when they were talking and all these other things. You know, I wanted to know so much about what was going on. What did the Maroney wife say to Penguin and Sophia when they were sitting there, before they was about to die, and it all is out on the table now. And of course, we see Sophia kind of basically, we don't really get to see her react to that information. We kind of do get to see her react to it, but mostly this episode was a fantastic flashback into what happened in Arkham. Arkham and Bliss are indeed the quote-unquote comic book thing for this show, right? Like, this show has a comic book thing, and it is that. Seeing the stuff that Sophia went through in Arkham to get admitted to Arkham, seeing what the other Arkham residents, or whatever they're called, whatever the other prisoners, patients, whatever you want to call them, seeing what they went through as well. It's just so insane how much they had to endure on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis, and how intrusive everything was for them. And it just shows that, Arkham is Arkham no matter where you're at. Arkham was doing Arkham things to the fullest extent. Definitely creating monsters in the truest way possible. I mean, that poor girl, it seemed like she didn't even want to be how she was. It kind of seems like she was definitely forced to be that way. And it just kind of gave us a whole bunch of good stuff to see there. So this episode did a wonderful job with all of those things. And now let's kind of talk more about and go a little bit more in depth with the things that happened throughout this episode. Starting, of course, with what I was talking about before, and that being how she straight pulled up on them, yo. Like, the wife pulled up on them like it was nobody's business, okay? She was there and she was ready. She was like, you think that you can screw us? You think you can mess us over and all this stuff? And look at how confused she was. She literally has no idea what's going on, and that is so sad because it just shows how the Penguin continues to manipulate everyone around him and how they have no chance against knowing what's actually happening. And we see how he immediately just starts lying. I never cheated your family. I never did any of that stuff. I obviously was going to lie to Sophia. All of this stuff was for you. It never was going to be what you think it was. Saying all this stuff right there in front of Sophia because he obviously will say anything he needs to. And I think he can sell that off to her as, yo, I said anything I need to say. Yo, my boy came back for us and I knew that was going to happen. But you was too far. What was I going to do? Carry you with a bum leg? I can see him saying all of that stuff, yo. That seems very Penguin-like, and it just the way that we get to see her actually look and see that he saw her and they just leave, like they left her straight up there on the place. And it was just crazy to see the Penguin just kind of, it was awesome to see the Penguin from a different perspective, like it was really cool to see that. I really appreciate it. And the first person she calls is the only person that she can call, and that's her boy. You know what I'm saying? That's her boy. No, that's well, not her boy, but her therapist. And it was super crazy to see how quote unquote normal Sophia was before. I mean, she was not, you know what I mean? Like, she was just a normal person doing all of these things for women, in fact, showing you how messed up her father really was, because to pin the murders on her when she obviously is all doing so much for women, like, that is so, bro, that's just fucked. Like, there's nothing else to say. That is how you know you're dealing with like a narcissistic psychopath, because the thing that she loved to do, the thing that stood out to her the most, you know what I mean? That is the thing that she ends up getting pinned for, right? She wanted to stand up for women. She cares about women, all of these things. And her dad pins the murder of all these women on her. And I mean, that was another crazy reveal as well, right? Is that just, she is straight up just trying to do the right thing. And Even to the point where when this reporter pulls up and is talking to her, she wants to help her. She's trying to help this reporter because she's like, yo, she cares about what's going on with these women and that women are dying, especially under her father's watch, especially after seeing how her mother died. It was just insane to see all of it. And, it was a lot of, little foreshadowing moments as well to what actually happened to her mother in this case as well. It was just a lot of good stuff going on. And I mean, look, you can see how the Penguin is looking in the background. And he's like, bruh, who the hell is this woman talking to? You know what I mean? Like, the way he's looking at her, like, bro, what's going on here? And it just seems, to me that there is a lot going on already in the first, in these first 15 minutes of this episode, right? Already we were getting into a lot of interesting things. And then it was just super sad to see that Sophia is the one that initially found her mother, right? She's running into there. She's going with her. She's like talking to her mom. You can obviously see that there was like an argument had. There's obviously stuff going on here. And she turns around and sees her mother not standing there. She sees her mother has been hung in the house. It's definitely not, it doesn't look like, somebody that has hung themselves. It definitely looks like there was a scuffle going down or whatever, so it was a lot of stuff going on. And it was also dope to see, the return of her brother and then to see her dad and to see all of them kind of together and discussing things and talking about stuff, I mean, it was just really nice to see that, it was nice to see the quote unquote, the family dynamic and to see that, her brother Alberto clearly was not going to be the next in line. He is a pinhead. He's a bonehead. He had no idea what was going on with the business, with life. He was just a party boy, taking drugs and drinking. And, it sucks because Sophia definitely did all of the things that she wanted to do and needed to do in order to, to be the next in line, which she was. And that's something that definitely raised concerns for me with her brother. Like, yo, is her brother, what's going on with her brother? Even right here, right? Her brother is like, even back in the day, her brother was disrespecting Penguin, right? I mean, Oz, whatever, you disrespecting him, and she's like, she was sticking up for him then, like, hey, yo, don't call him that, you know what I mean? All this stuff. And it was just nice to see. It was just really nice to see the dynamic between them. And I mean, if you look at the looks that he gave her as they're talking, right? It was very peculiar, to say the very least. Look at him. Like, I mean, that look is just a look of like, I don't know. He just doesn't seem trustworthy. And I know he's a drophead, he's a knock, all these things, but there's just something about what's going on here that just rubs me the absolute wrong way. And of course, Penguin always ear hustling and always paying attention to what's going on. And he's always using the information at his disposal. And the Penguin doesn't know the other half of all the stuff that's going on. He only knows one half of the things. And that's her half. That's what's going on that he's there with, right? And then when she finally makes the decision to go and see Summer Gleason, the person that is belonging to the Gotham Gazette, she basically lays out all of the evidence to show that women have been being murdered in all of her father's clubs for a while now. Her father is straight up heavily implying that her father is a straight up serial killer and has been murdering these women for a while. And it is just absolutely diabolical to even see that happening, to see that going down. And it's when she looks at not the wounds, but the scratching and the scratch marks what is it called? The fingernails. She sees the fingernails. She sees how the cuticles look. She sees how it looks when they're, for the fight back. And it reminds her of what her mother's, she looks at it and then she immediately remembers how her mother's fingers looked that night as well. And they look the same way. Her mother's fingers look the same way. And then her dad comes in. And when her dad comes in, I mean, that is not the reaction of someone who didn't, whose wife just committed suicide, brother. He's not even crying. I don't know, yo. I don't know, bruh. It's heavily implied that it's the daddy. It's heavily implied that the daddy is the serial killer, the murderer, I kind of feel like that as well. Like I am also feeling like, hey, her daddy is the culprit. And then she had Oz the Penguin drive her to the meeting, so he knows everything that's going on. And he's like, bro, what in the hell is happening here? He had no idea. He had no idea that her father was going to throw her in Arkham and pin all of the murders on her, right? How would he have known that? Which is a fact. Like, it's not his fault. The Penguin did not really do anything wrong. He was just doing his job. And, look, him and Carla are standing there. They're talking. They're chatting. All this stuff is going on. It's just so sad, man. So sad that literally everyone turned on her. Her and Carla were fam. It's just sad, And then I love the way that she immediately notices that Oz has a new jacket. Like, how did you get this? And it's because he snitched on her. You know what I mean? Basically. But he didn't snitch on her technically. It's in a technical sense, he didn't snitch. He did his job. Bro, you talking to the press. You're not supposed to. I'm your driver. I got to tell your daddy you was talking to the press. You know what I'm saying? And how was he supposed to know that her father was a serial killer for, serial killing women? There was no way he could have known. So, I just like that we get a lot of those answers very early on. What was going on? What Falcone was doing. And look at how Falcone, it just immediately is ready to turn on her with like a drop of the dime, right? He is not worried about it. She's immediately terrified because she knows that, well, her father is not scared to, do some terrible, crazy shit. As we clearly see, he's not afraid at all to do something terrible, not only, to his own flesh and blood. Look at the way that man is looking. Look at him. Right, you can already know that he is doing some messed up stuff. And then he has Penguin take her home, and immediately, what happens? They get stopped by the police. Her dad was wasting no time in framing her for these murders and framing her for the things that had happened. It's absolutely diabolical. It's absolutely wild how quick bro was, showing that the police are obviously in the Falcone's pocket, right? Like they are, like they're not good, right? The cops are not good cops. They're not good police. None of that stuff. Like they're everything is corrupt in this city. It's very clear to see that. And it was very sad to see how, once again, how regular, how normal she was before. Like, 'cause she was so very normal. Like, she was not someone that should have been put into Arkham. She's not like the Riddler. She's not like the Joker or any of those crazy people or Magpie. None of that. She is her own person. And then it was just so sad to see how they absolutely violated her. Like, that was insane. I don't know if we've ever seen, how they treat Arkham patients in a way like this. Right? Like, just stripping her down straight naked, like how being super invasive in her orifices. That was just, like, that's just so weird. And then they gave her a pap smear, yo. Like, this is wild for them to do. And the way that they just pull her down, like, bruh, all of that is just so absurdly evasive and just, it's just nasty and just makes you just feel like, bruh, gotta make you feel terrible. Literally not treating any of these people like they're human beings by any means necessary. And then we see this freaky ass doctor who's definitely getting off on this wild stuff. And then we see his freaky ass assistant, Julian Rush, who is also getting off on a lot of this stuff, which she calls him out on rightfully because bro was definitely looking, I don't know, bro. He was looking at her real seductively. I don't know. But you know, it was just crazy to see that they just did not care and how little care is given to any of these Arkham people. It's like, yo, is this how they're doing everyone in Arkham? You know, like, is this what they're doing to everybody in Arkham? Like, why? Why is this happening? And it was crazy to see the introduction of Magpie. I think I saw some people thinking that it was Harley Quinn, but it is in fact actually Magpie and not Harles. And that's also, you know, crazy. It's crazy how many little drops they were giving us for people and name drops and left and right. You know, we got a little bit of everything. And I love the way that Magpie is in there just kind of tweaking, you know, like, you know, she was on the Bliss, all the things, right? We get all of the things. That is one thing that I wish we would have got a little bit more of in this episode, is a little bit more understanding on how the Bliss works, what the Bliss is, and all that good stuff. And we really don't get that, right? Like, we really don't get that. We just get to see, you know, basically her get her medicine. She's super hyped for it. Like, she chews it up. And then look at her, immediately it's a reaction. Immediately she's gone off of it, legit, immediately. And, you know, that's just, it's just crazy how they give absolute. And then, of course, you can always see the doctor looming in the background. Like, look at him, he's like right here. Look at him, he's just watching everything that's happening around all the time. He's such a freaking creeper, bro. There is obviously, and then that's when she walks in, right? She sees her walk in, and the doctor is standing there, obviously watching his experiment at play. All of it is wild. Like, the doctor is not a good person. None of these people are good people. None of these people are good people. And it's just insane to see how not good people any of them are. Down to the point of them giving them knives and letting them have an all-out... They're about to let it go down. Are you going to kill this woman? Like, bruh. Like, what? What? It's crazy that they, like, oh yeah, give her a fork and let her die. Like, damn, bro, like, this shit is insane. And obviously they're doing stuff so bad that we see this poor girl take herself out because she's saying, end it, please end it. I don't want to go through this anymore, because they obviously are brainwashing everyone in this piece, brother. And then she just takes herself out, bro, because she just doesn't want to live there anymore. She doesn't want to go through the things anymore. And what's the response to her seeing this wild shit? They strap her down and they give her electric therapy. Like, bro, what the fuck is happening? The worst doctors in the history of being doctors ever, bro. Like, this is not the way to handle someone just going through a traumatic experience, bro. Even if she was guilty, this isn't something to do with somebody. It definitely seems like they were purposely trying to breed something. Like, they're trying to breed some type of crazy, some type of villains. They're trying to breed something for sure, because it's like they're giving people bliss. They're making them lose their mind in order to use them to do something that, like, there's just a lot of shit going on here, and it is absolutely tragic. It is a travesty what is going on and occurring in Arkham. And you can see how after that first hit of that electrotherapy is when she starts to lose her mind. Immediately she starts to lose her mind. She immediately gets the grip on reality begins to loosen as she goes through these things more and more. And they just continuously get her, and then, like, just continuously do her dirty. Continuously put her into these moments, into these areas of heighten just everything. And it's just so sad. And then at one point, you know, after it goes and goes and goes, she finally breaks. And at that point of her finally breaking, she sees her mother hanging yet again. And it's like almost at that point, she kind of became the hangman, but not the hangman in the traditional sense. Maybe even one of my theories was that her brother is the hangman, because in the comics they're both serial killers. So in my theory was that her brother was the hangman, and that she may end up being the holiday killer of some sort, you know, because that's kind of the vibe that that they may be trying to go for, is like subverting the tropes. But now it seems like her dad was the hangman actually, and that's crazy. It's just crazy. All of it is insane, bro. It's all just insane. And then we see that she was there for 6 months, brother, and then she found out that they weren't going to give her a trial. And then that is the moment where we see she actually loses it, right? We see that she cannot handle that. And then her brother can clearly see that she, like, look at that face. Like, look at their faces, both of them. They're both so distraught about what's happening here. And she loses it. He's not losing it, obviously. He's fine. But he's also sad. And it just does go to show how much he truly loved his sister. There's just a lot of going on here, man. A lot going on here. And it's so sad. And then we finally see Sophia break. She murders Magpie, takes her out, and then she's like, I told you I'm innocent. Can't you see? I just killed this person. And then they hit her with the dosage of the wosage, man, and that was crazy. I wasn't ready for her to get hit with a dose. And then she is back with, she's back with her, with the dude, bro. And then Julian I got issues with Julian, but I love that she calls him out for all the things that I was wanting him to be called out for. And then we got to take a moment to just talk about how she strut in like the baddest bitch on 2 feet. You feel me? Rocking the hell out of that dress and coming through like she knew she was about to kill everybody in the room except the little girl. And that was awesome. I loved it. I love seeing that. I love the way that she talks to everyone and lets them know, like, it's crazy that none of y'all stuck up for me. It's crazy that all of y'all wrote a letter against me when I thought we was cool. I thought we was rocking. I thought we was friends. I love that aspect of things. And then she's like, but it's okay. Tomorrow will be a new dawn, and you don't have to worry about anything. And they kind of finessed us. I thought that she was going to burn the house down. Usually when people open that window, it's to get oxygen flowing so the fire can spread. But instead, she opened that window so Vidi didn't die. So she could torture him himself or get him to do whatever she needs him to do anyway. Like, I love that, bro. I love that she basically she's holding Vidi hostage to either kill him last or to get all the information she needs to know about the business. Because let's be honest, her uncle Luca definitely wasn't the one that was actually running things. I'm just down for it, bro. I love it. I love it. Handled one entire thing on its own. I think I saw someone in the chat say, 1 family down, 1 to go. And I love it. I just love it, Joe. It's going to be super dope to see what Sophia does in the future. And I love the way that she bonds with this little girl here. I love the little way the little girl's like, my mommy told me not to talk to you. She said you did bad things. And then I love what she chooses to say here. My father locked me in a dungeon. She's like, I did do bad things. She says, well, my father, wait, what's happening? She says, my father locked me in a dungeon, and I had to fight the monsters to survive. And then when the little girl asked, oh my goodness. And the little girl asks, am I going to get locked away? She says, no, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to make sure that you never have to fight any monsters. And that's because she's killed everyone in the household. Sophia is amazing. I mean, it's crazy how this show has me rooting for villains left and right. And I continue to say it. There is nothing about this show, in my opinion, that follows like the traditional trope of how things go, right? Like, I don't think any of us assumed that she was going to kill the entire family. And if we did think that she was going to kill the whole family, we didn't think it was going to be like this. I definitely thought she was just going to out Vidi for smashing her uncle's wife. I thought all of these different things were going to happen. No, none of that happened. Nah, she just murdered everyone using cyanide in the vents, basically. And then I love the way that she kind of just hops, skips, and dances through the mansion as this happens, showing that, she kind of has lost her ever-loving mind. Like, look at her. Look at how she's strutting. Look at her. She's literally ecstatic about what she's done, even putting a little skip into her step as she walks away. Like, what? Like, she is a fantastic she's a fantastic character. This was a fantastic episode. I love the way that she chooses to do things. She's definitely become a like even more of a psychopath. I'm pretty sure she killed like what was that, 5 or 6 people at the minimum, not to mention all the guards and stuff that were in there too. So there was a lot going on here. And it was a beautiful, crazy episode, bro. This was a crazy episode. And I loved, again, the deep dive into Arkham, being able to see what really happened there. All of the craziness that we got to see. All the name drops that there were. And then, of course, seeing Sophia just be a bad bitch in a yellow dress. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? And then she just keeps skipping through the mansion. I love it, yo. I love the energy that she gives. And then she just knows that Vidi is going to be the only one that's alive. She goes in there and she is like, hey, yo, let's talk about life. And that is how we finish this episode. I just love it, man. This show continues to surprise me. It continues to capitalize on not being tropey, I guess you can say. Like, and it's not... You know, it takes us by surprise. It takes things by storm. It's an amazing, amazing show, and I think it will continue to get better and better as we go. And I just cannot believe how they have ended this episode. You know what I mean? Like, what a fantastic episode. What a way to go. What a way to end it. I love this episode, and I hope you did too. Let me know how you feel in the comment section down below.
If you guys would like to support Marv Bros, all you gotta do is visit our website at www.marvbros.com and buy some merch. Represent the superfan. Or you can join our Patreon to get early access to content, patron-only scoops, giveaways, private Q&As, and those sacred watch parties. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Excelsior.
On today's pop culture news update.